All right, everybody, thank you for being here. This is the Mode Shift Omaha monthly membership meeting. It is Wednesday, October 27th. Halloween is right around the corner. We don't really have anything spooky to talk about this evening. We are going to just go through, first of all, some updates about some events that are coming up, and then we are going to hop into the bulk of our discussion this evening is going to be based around Parklets and our parking day installation that we did last month. So first of all, upcoming events, which are all on our calendar. I'll drop actually a link into the chat that has our calendar if you want to, keep this in mind for your future reference. It's kind of handy to have. You can also always find it on the right side of our website, but just so that you've got it, add our Google Calendar to yours and keep on top. So coming up on the 2nd, November 2nd at 5:30, our missing middle team will be meeting. All of this is pretty much virtual for the foreseeable future as far as our action teams go. So 5:30 missing middle. Grace and Brian, who are on the call tonight, are kind of the leads on that team. On the 8th, actually, of November, the missing middle team is going to be presenting in Dundee to the Neighborhood Association at Brown L. Talbot at 7 o'clock. You do have to wear a mask if you show up. That one is in real life. Then on the 10th, our walkability team meets at 7 o'clock. The time shifted a little bit. They used to meet at 6:30. New team leader always was hustling. So we decided why not move to 7 o'clock. So that's 7 o'clock on the 10th. And then the 13th, which is the second Saturday, we're kind of shifting our coffee chats to be combined with a second Saturday coffee ride. So coffee ride / coffee chat. We meet at Elmwood at 10 o'clock. Usually the week or a few days before we post where we're going to be meeting beforehand, but that is Saturday the 13th at 10 o'clock in Elmwood. Also, though, on the 13th at 9 a.m. is ProRail Nebraska has their membership annual meeting, and that's going to be at UNO's Milo Bale Student Center. It's free, open to the public. Masks are required there as well, 9 to noon. And then our transit team is going to be doing a Ride the Bus with Us event directly after that. I think it sounds like they're going to be taking a trip on Orbit from UNO to Westroads for lunch and then back. So put that on your calendars if you want to ride the bus with us. Then on the 15th, which is a Monday evening at 7 o'clock, our bike team is going to be doing a winter commuting clinic. So if you are interested in how to bundle up and stay safe and warm and upright on your bike in the winter, join us at 7 o'clock. Again, that will be virtual. What else is happening? Okay, the 23rd, our transit team will meet again at 6 o'clock. Then the 24th next month, we're going to have another membership meeting with, brace yourselves, Todd Fitzer from Public Works, y'all. I invited him. He said yes, because I was at City Council a few weeks ago and brought up sidewalk clearing in some snow removal situation. And they responded and said that Public Works is teaming up with Parks to really get real about sidewalk accessibility. So that seemed very exciting to me. So I invited them. I actually invited the Parks Director as well, Matt Kalsovich, who's a great new guy. If you haven't reached out to him about park stuff, feel free. He's very responsive. Anyway, so I'm kind of excited about that. And then the big thing in November is Giving Tuesday. We will be hustling all of you for your money. So get ready now. That is the 30th. So we are excited about doing some fundraising around Giving Tuesday with Share Omaha. I also have a link that I can drop in the chat about that later too. So I think that is it as far as my updates go. There's also some more of the Connect Go kind of neighborhood conversations happening as well, which we'll find a link for that at some point too. But I guess real quickly, does anybody have any questions about anything before we get into our parking day recap? Okay, dokie. All right.
Yeah, that was a lot of information. So maybe let's pause briefly and see if people have questions.
Sounds
but
good.
I think it should all be at that calendar link that Sarah put in the chat. So hopefully people can access that. And yeah, anybody questions?
All right. I just popped the Share Omaha, specifically our link, so you can give us all of your money. Also, an easy way, is someone trying to say something? I'm talking nonstop. Who has something to say? Anybody? No. All right, I'm going to put one more link in the chat, and then get into this little silly slide deck I put together. All right, and the link that is coming at you now in the chat is how to become a member. We've actually been kind of having a little bit of an informal membership drive. A lot of you may have been getting kind of hassled about that. So we appreciate you for either renewing your membership or becoming a member for the first time. We're at over 100 members, I think, for the first time ever. So grateful to all of you for making it happen. And now we are going to get into the old slide deck for a Parklet recap. Okie dokie. Oh my gosh, I don't know what just happened. I'm gonna cancel that and then try it again. Okay, I think you all can see this, right? I hope so. Someone nod your head. Liz, can you see this? Okay, good then. We're gonna go for it. Okay, so first of all, if you were at our parking day event, raise your hand. Who all was there? Some of you came by. It was awesome. I see some familiar faces. So basically, it was an installation on South 13th Street. Some of you may be wondering what the heck is parking day. So we have been talking about doing a parking day installation for years, but basically parking day is a global public participatory art project launched by Rebar in 2005. It's a day where people across the world temporarily repurpose street parking spaces and convert them to parks and places for art, play, and activism. So we talked about it, and then finally Spin put together a grant opportunity that we applied for kind of on a whim. Didn't actually ask the board, I just went for it. Thank you, board, for not blowing up me. Anyway, we got it. We were one of 30 communities across the world, y'all. I was pretty excited. You know, we were in good company, like Brisbane, Australia, Tokyo, Toronto, Washington, DC, like all over the world. So we were pretty excited about that. The couple photos you see here, the top one is actually from Tokyo, and the bottom is what they did in Providence, Rhode Island for parking day. So again, it could be anything from just a seating area, some plants. I'm not exactly sure what the Tokyo project was, but it looks like just a lot of neat plants and greenery. But different communities, if you ever go to the Spin site, they break down all the different projects. So what did we do? There is our delightful walkability team leader, Stephanie, who was really excited about the idea of placemaking. So I talked with her frequently and kind of roped her into the idea, and she was real jazzed about it. But what we did was we decided to build a parklet, which is basically a miniature park. It was housed in just a parallel parking spot in front of the Greenhouse Omaha in Little Bohemia. There's a lot of different benefits to parklets. The main thing is, you know, Omaha loves its street parking, but sometimes there's too much. And so what we did was we transformed a parking spot into a little mini park to kind of provide a safe gathering space during, you know, COVID times. We weren't really doing our coffee chats and we were sick of doing virtual. So we decided it would be an outdoor safe space to have a gathering. And then also we were trying to highlight the safety concerns and the dangerous speeding issues along South 13th Street. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that area, but it's kind of a truck route. I think the speed limit's like 35, but people were flying down that road. It's 4 lanes, 2 in each direction, completely overbuilt for what's actually being used. And so part of the concept was, you know, traffic calming, kind of slow folks down. And it did kind of work. We had a lot of folks that were like slowing down, trying to like look over at us and see what's going on. So it was a success. All right, so again, what is a parklet? I think, Liz, can you let Clyde in? I don't know why I can't click anything except for my slides here. Okay, so here's some other parklet examples from around the country. Again, we kind of talked about what a parklet is, and it's basically just transforming a parking spot and turning it into something better, more useful, free and open to the public. So the one on the right is not from around town, nor is the one on the bottom, but the one on the top left, you'll see one of our board members, Manny Cook, and another neighborhood friend from North Omaha. This is on North 24th. Spark CDI is a cool community development organization that Manny works for, and they put together a fellowship opportunity. I applied randomly for an internship and then decided I kind of didn't really want it anyway. And Manny was delightful and reached out and said, you didn't get the internship. We're going to give you a fellowship instead. Here's some money to build this parklet. So this was kind of a little bit pared down version of it, but you can see there were some plants. It didn't get fully planted out like the one that we ended up doing on South 13th, but that existed. It was initially put together for Native Omaha Days on North 24th Street. And once again, took over a parking spot, put together some pallet benches. Actually, Alaria, I think is her name, in the red there. She tie-dyed the fabric. It was really a cool collaboration. So building from that, we decided to do our own little project. So I'm going to torture you all with some videos that I was forced to take because of the SPIN grant. They made us answer a few questions and take some videos. So I just figured, since I didn't really do anything else with it, I would play it now. So here we go. The question was, what would you do with this space? So what would you fill this space with?
Hi, I'm Sarah Johnson with Mode Shift Omaha, standing here today in South Omaha, ready to put a parklet in this space. It's going to have 2 benches for seating. We're going to host a coffee chat here to talk about what we're doing. It's going to have plants, flowers, all sorts of good stuff. Can't wait.
So you can kind of hear how loud the traffic noise is. That was definitely a little bit of a concern the entire day long, but here's another kind of just midway video talking about what we're doing.
All right, so here's our progress so far. We are going to have 2 of these cedars planted. We also have some barriers, another pallet that is going to kind of act as some more protection between the traffic and the seating area. And parking day is a really cool idea that started in about 2005, I think, by some folks that realized street parking, maybe not the best land use opportunity. So what's cool to me about parking day is it helps people, we a lot of times as Mode Shift Omaha, they shift your thinking. And so what this is going to do is help folks shift the way that they think about a regular old parking spot. Mode Shift Omaha has talked about doing a parking day installation for years now. We've been around for about a decade, and this has been a conversation that keeps coming up. So gratefully, so far so good. We're excited because we do want to help slow traffic speeds here, start some conversations, help shift people's thinking.
Indeed, we did. It was pretty cool. This is just a time lapse. There's no audio on this one, but just so you can kind of get an idea, we showed up at about 8 o'clock in the morning, tried to get ready in time for our 9 o'clock coffee chat. And we had so many great conversations. Some people were there intentionally for the coffee chat, but a lot of folks were just like wandering by and wondering, what the heck are you doing here? So we had some great outreach opportunity to kind of talk about, you know, what traffic calming is, the glut of parking spots that Omaha has, who Mode Shift Omaha is, kind of just, yeah, it was a really great day. I had a lot of fun. I know Stephanie also was, we were just beaming ear to ear pretty much the whole day. It was a really, couldn't have gone much better. The weather cooperated and everything. So we asked a lot of folks what their opinions were. You know, we obviously were biased and thought it was great since we built the dang thing, but we wanted to know what other people had to say. So here's just a few short clips and they will tell us what they thought. Overall, it was very good.
Yeah, what I love about this is seeing people. That's what attracts me to stop and just like know what's going on in this part of town. So yeah, that's what attracts me to this. Often seeing people out and just like a new use of space. Usually you just see cars or pedestrians, which is cool. But like having a moment to pause and sit and be in conversation with your friend is great.
Beautiful.
So once again, the audio is kind of hard to hear, but I think the point was, you know, seeing people out and about. Everyone's been so isolated after COVID that it was really cool for folks to just kind of see something happening, you know, and it's not just a boring old parking spot. I'll sound like a broken record, but I mean, to me, there's no question. Personal car storage or a place where people can gather for free. So that was what Mary had to say about it. Next up, Clyde, who I think just joined us. Again, the audio is kind of rough, but see if you can hear what he has to say.
We got all the space here. We are it's still being pedestrian walking. Nice bikes. This is great.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you.
So I guess the point there was it should be bigger, which, yeah, totally. We, again, just took over one little parallel parking spot. Part of the reason that we chose this area was because we knew that in case the city showed up and told us that we weren't allowed to be there, that we could just move it onto the nice wide sidewalk. So we didn't have to. Luckily, the city did not show up and shut us down, but we kind of did expand onto the sidewalk a little bit with the coffee chat folks. You know, we're kind of spread out. Some people brought like camp chairs and stuff. And it was, yeah, it was a good day for sure. All right, Liz, can you let in Manny? And then we'll hear from Eric Williams here, who was one of our like original mode shifters and now works for the NRD.
This is a good demonstration that some portion of this car only space can probably be used by other people. Who should move that direction. Get out there and make it more of a public space rather than, you know, just a place for vehicles to go fast.
Again, more than just a place for people in cars. You do see this giant boom mic kind of at the top. That was because we did attempt, well, not attempt, we did record a podcast. Mode Shift Omaha gratefully sponsors a podcast that I co-host called Car Free Midwest. And we took this opportunity. We were going to try to record in the Parklet, but it was so darn loud because of the road noise that we kind of like snuck over to a table next to the building. But that's what that obnoxious mic is in the way for. And then, of course, I had to record what I thought about it again for Spin.
Basically, what I love about this space is that we have people gathering safely outside, enjoying a beautiful day. And it's not just a private car storage space. This is open to the public. It's free. It's really just a fun way to spend a Friday morning, frankly, in community with other people who appreciate not just fast cars and parked cars. It's really about streets are for people. And so I think what's important about this is helping folks understand that there are better ways to use our public space, and just car storage, not very inspiring.
Okie dokie. Speaking of not very inspiring, no, I'm just kidding. Actually, the city had a fairly decent reaction to it. As you heard from all of us, we thought it was delightful. We saw some public works trucks drive by. We saw, you know, police officers drive by. We just kind of waved to everybody. But it is important to say that we were not instructed specifically by Spin or in all the like parking day information to reach out to the city. But, you know, probably could have. We have reached out to the city and worked with the city in the past, like the heyday on May Day, for example. That's from like a decade ago, but we had all the permission in the world. They knew about it all along the way. We actually like partnered with them to put together basically a party to show some of the new transportation alternative. Anyway, they find us even after they knew about it. So we just kind of thought this time, you know what, we'll just give it a shot. We're not defacing public property. Which that's what they said we did last time when we had their permission to spray chalk a bike lane on Harney Street, showing folks now we actually can ride it. We do have green paint on Harney Street. Anywho, this was a temporary installation and it worked out great. The city did send us a 2-page letter telling us how we need to do it differently next time. We have to have a street obstruction permit to occupy a parking spot. And then we have to have 2 types of insurance, which we'll get to in the next slide. But the good news was the parking department and Ken Smith, who's the director of parking and like curb management. He's a good guy. He's actually newer to Omaha. I guess it's been a few years now, but he is doing some good things in the parking department, surprisingly. And he actually reached out and asked us for other ideas moving forward. So that's why we're gonna bother you all about some brainstorming here in a minute. And then the city of Omaha, word on the street is that they are working on their own Parklet project to hopefully launch in the spring. So fingers crossed. I'm super excited to see what that looks like. What was not exciting is the $1 million general liability and then a car insurance policy for $1 million for each accident. I don't know. So we actually are looking into how to get insurance. Our current provider won't do anything for us. So we have to look for a new insurance provider for this type of a thing. I just wanted to point out here that that little Honda over there in the corner probably doesn't have $1 million policy. I'm not sure, but our Parklet requires one. That's fine. We'll figure it out. So this is why we have invited you all to brainstorm with us tonight. It's really kind of up to us what we want to do next. So we put out a survey, which I know about 10 of you have taken, so thank you. It's still available. I'll link to that here in a minute as well. But if you haven't taken it, go ahead and do it. Some of the questions that we're going to be talking about tonight that are also in the survey basically, what did you think was good or bad about our installation on 13th Street? Where should we do our next one? Because there will be another parking day. It happens every September. We're looking forward to it already. The good news is we are going to be able to reuse the parking day project and replant it. You know, the flowers aren't going to survive, but the bright teal cushions that everybody noticed that matched our shirts, which was absolutely by design, of course, and the surrounding blue corrugated aluminum, all that stuff we are going to have in storage and then bring out again. So where should it go next time? And then what do you want to see aside from a coffee chat? That worked out great. That'll likely be something that we will replicate. But what else do you want to see as far as programming in the Parklet? And then if you are interested in something other than a Parklet, you know, when we're talking with the parking department and bringing some ideas to the table, I know I'm partial to bring back the bike corral concept. I think it's ridiculous that there's a policy stating that it's illegal to have bike parking on the street. It would also benefit Heartland B-Cycle. I know that they would really like to see on-street bike corrals. So that's kind of, if it's not Parklets, what else do you want to see us doing this coming year? Some of the results we've seen so far, so feel free to echo these when we do our breakouts or come up with some new neighborhoods, but Blackstone, Benson, Midtown, West Omaha is another survey that we just got in. What else do you want to see? Another coffee chat, more bike rides, painted intersections near transit hubs, specifically Mercy Road was mentioned. And then, you know, of course I put bike corral policy change. So what do you want? What do you think we should do? This is the point where we're going to actually go ahead and try to get into some breakout rooms. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and then we will go ahead and see if we can't do this breakout room situation. So I'm going to actually pause the recording while we get into breakout rooms. So we're going to have one group of folks ready for talking about Parklets and what that should look like, and then another group that will be talking about not Parklets. So I'm going to hit stop recording. Okay. I think that I just jumped into the Parklet group for a minute there and heard some exciting things. So hopefully each group chose a note taker, reporter, backer. And now we will get right into that. So let's start with the group number 1, which I think was our Parklet group. So whoever the group number 1 representative was, if you can come off mute and share what y'all talked about.
Yeah.
I took notes, but you all will have to remind me if I missed some things. So we started off talking about how could we build more Parklets, but then also longer duration Parklets. So having Parklets in places longer. And yep, Brian, you can chime in and help me out whenever. And we just talked about different locations after that, like Blackstone, what was it? Coneflower as a really good location. And then some other locations as well. And then some ideas around like a trailer held Parklet came up, and different ways of getting the word out to people.
Awesome. Anybody else in that group have anything else they wanted to add to what Manny just shared with us? That sounds great. More and longer and all over the place and on wheels. Good ideas. All right.
But we do want to hesitate that you don't overshare it, because we could possibly attract the city's attention.
Okay,
So just whatever we do it smart.
Totally. And I think what we learned is, in order to do it smart, we are going to apply for the permitting, and we are going to get the insurance, and we are going to try to do it by the city's, you know, rules, so that they like it and they understand the benefits, and then they actually help. Again, I'm really interested to see what the city's Parklet project is that they're going to be rolling out next spring. So I would love to say, yes, let's do it smart, but I would really hope that once we do it all legit, we can yell it from the mountaintops and have everyone there, and the city will be on our team. Yeah, man.
Well, we should have a competition with the city's Parklet and see whose is better.
Now we're talking.
Sarah, have they given us any information about like, will they let us do a Parklet on like typically like a paid parking spot? Like, I'm thinking the ones outside of Coneflower have the meters or whatever. So I don't know if they would be cranky about losing revenue or something, or if there are any guidelines around that.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Grace. One of the thoughts that we had was finding a spot with meters so we could just feed the meter and then be like, well, we're paying for it just like a car would. So I don't really know the full answer to that. I feel like they might not like it. But it
You
doesn't
can
have to-
actually rent parking meter spaces from the parks parking department. So that it makes it even easier, actually, like Sarah's saying, to use one of those spaces.
Yes. So many good questions. And I know that one of our board members, Lee, who I don't think is here tonight, but he met with Ken of the parking department. And so the concept is we're going to gather all of our ideas tonight and then bring them back to Lee, who's going to have a follow-up conversation with Ken in the parking department and see what we can come up with. But these are great questions that we will be passing along. So good thinking, everybody. Anything else on Parklets before we swap on over to group 2?
Yeah, just want to make sure we don't forget Tobin's request that we do seasonal parklets. So dress it up for the fall in the fall.
And bring in the artists, just.
I loved that idea, Tobin, that like little mini art show. Totally.
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Totally great. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Any final thoughts, or should we pass it on to the not Parklet team? All right. Not Parklet team, tell us what you know.
Okay, I think that's me. Thanks, Sarah. We talked about a lot of different things. Spencer was interested in closing his street down for Halloween because so many kids come, and I think that you can get a permit through the city and you can do that. A lot of neighborhoods do that and have block parties and stuff. So Grace shared the link to that form. Grace, if you have that handy, maybe you can share that again just so everybody sees that, if anybody else who wasn't in our group is interested in that. So that was good connection. And I think ModeShift has talked about doing more to support neighborhoods doing that. So we could potentially, there's, education and support and resources for parklets or stuff to have as part of that. So that's something we can think about. A couple folks connected around living out west and wanting to do more out west in Omaha. Cindy had a really good idea for green paint and crosswalk / green paint around the on Mercy Road, I think where the Ex-Arban Transit Center is. That, I don't know, it's not exactly a transit center, it's just like a bus stop, but
like the transfer station, maybe kind of the transfer area.
But that there's a lot of that's near the Keystone Trail, there's a lot of bikes and pedestrians, and there's no crosswalks. So making that area safer, I think, is a good idea. Those were some of the main sort of project type things that we talked about, but hopefully people's juices start flowing and maybe people have some other ideas that they want to share, and other folks can add on if I missed stuff.
Great. Yeah. Did anybody else have anything else that they wanted to add, either that they talked about and we forgot to mention, or just a new idea that has just come to you? And I will once again drop the survey link in the chat so that you can think about it, dwell on it, brainstorm some more on your own, and then bring it to us. The other thing is, as usual, at any time, email us. You can either just email info@modeshiftomaha.org or sarah@modeshiftomaha.org. We are always excited to hear from you. So I did just see the biking in the winter thing from Cindy. We are just another little plug for our upcoming winter commuting class coming up on the 15th. It's going to be a Monday night at 7. It will be virtual, free, of course, as usual. All right. Anything else around projects? I guess the kind of goal with this was, as we're looking forward to 2022, really getting on top of project ideas and crowdsourcing, of course, because we exist because of our membership. So what you all want to see is what we want to help make happen. A lot of what ModeShift tries to do is help advocates become even louder, even stronger, even more of us. So we will be definitely going through all of the information. If the note takers could email me, I'll put my email in the chat again, just so that we can compile all of them, mochiftomaha.org. And then we will be sharing kind of the latest from that survey when we finally get all the information in. Again, then we'll be bringing it to the board. Lee will be talking again with Ken Smith and parking and trying to figure out what we can collaborate with the city on. So sometimes I'm like, I can't even believe we're saying we're collaborating with the city again, because it's been about a decade since the city has wanted to collaborate with us. But you know what? Sometimes progress isn't as fast as I'd like, but it is happening. So yeah, I guess at this point, I kind of wanted to just do another reminder about Giving Tuesday. We are going to be really making a push for that. We don't really have like a specific event happening around that. We have talked about maybe doing something along the lines of Cranksgiving at some point at the end of the month. Again, that would be kind of a bike team initiative. That's something that a lot of different communities around the country do, like Thanksgiving, Cranksgiving. We used to do that when I had the old shop, where a group would meet, ride to grocery stores, collect canned goods, and bring back so that we could give to a food bank, since not everybody is
Good.
as as able to eat as we'd like them to be. So every little bit helps, but kind of thinking maybe we could, I mean, it is after Thanksgiving, so maybe it wouldn't be a specific Giving Tuesday event, but if anybody has ideas about that or wants to help out with Giving Tuesday stuff, let me know. We are still kind of formulating some thoughts around that, but we do know that we are going to be, trying to do some fundraising and some membership hustling. We're also, Grace and I have been, and Melanie, another board member, have been kind of reviewing some of our membership perks. So if anybody else has thoughts around any of that, we're always talking, always brainstorming. So let us know what you think. We are grateful for your input tonight. And I guess I just kind of wanted to open it up now to anybody else. If anybody else has updates coming up, I know I wanted to shout out the Just Ride Halloween fun that's happening on Friday night. Manny, do you want to say anything about that?
Oh yeah, I had almost forgot. We're doing a ride on Halloween starting at Culture House, and we're going to ride around. I think we're leaving at 6 and then just going to ride around for a while. And then there's they have a event at Culture House afterwards. So it'll just be, it's not Halloween this Friday, the 29th. So.
Perfect. That's what I was, Halloween? No, I think Friday at 6. Awesome. I think we are going to try to roll through. We were going to do a haunted Hummel ride, leaving Benson to head to the Just Ride, but I don't know that we're going to go all the way to Hummel at this point. But yeah, so Friday ride bikes, that should be a good time. Does anybody else have any other updates or events or questions or anything they want to share with the group?
This is Clyde. I just wanted to mention that on November 13th, Pro Rail Nebraska is going to be having its annual meeting in Omaha at the Milo Bale Center at UNO. And John Summer, who's the new director of the Nebraska Department of Transportation, is going to be our keynote speaker. And we'll also have Jason Rose and Stephen Osberg will also be two of our speakers, and it's free from 9 a.m. till noon, and followed by people will have free rides on Orbit to West Roads and back after that, because the 62nd Street station's right opposite the Milo Bale Center at UNO.
Perfect. Thanks, Clyde. Anybody else? I did actually just pop that event, Clyde, onto our Mode Shift calendar. So once again, if you go to the Mode Shift Omaha website, on the right side, you'll see kind of our rolling events calendar. So keep an eye out for that and more stuff. We've got, again, all of our action team meetings happening. It's all on there. So I guess we could just close. I know at the beginning we talked about maybe wrapping up with a recap of what we just heard, those of us who were on the Connect Go NONA meeting right before this. But yeah, basically it just sounds like they're going over some different, their study and the different findings that they have gotten, their 10 top priorities. The things that I was really excited about were they're talking about filling 100 miles of sidewalk gaps. They did some studies around schools specifically and realized that there was a lot of missing sidewalk infrastructure. So they are suggesting that as a priority, as well as 100 miles of new on-street bike lanes, which was awesome. They did notice and shout out the Beltline Trail, the North Omaha Trail, but if we're going to get real about transportation, it needs to be on-street infrastructure as well and protected. So that was kind of cool. They're talking about traffic signal upgrades. I don't know. Anybody else had any other takeaways from that they wanted to share? It was cool. There's going to be some other upcoming meetings that they're going to be doing with different neighborhoods. I was going to try to find the link to share. I'll probably share it out on social media as well. But sounds like, you know, Connect Go is pushing for good stuff. It's just a matter of if the city will do it and when the city will do it. They did just approve a new bike ped master plan. So that's actually finally going to be in the works. There is no money earmarked for implementation of the findings, but you know, step at a time. So we'll keep our finger on the pulse. Brian just dropped Middle Omaha, Missing Middle, just one of our action teams around housing. They've got a meeting coming up like we talked about at the beginning. So I think that's all I've got for everyone this evening. One last opportunity to share. Yeah, not Liz. Ryan, what you got?
Got an announcement, couple, and then a question or two. So on the spin grants, we met with those folks today. You know, we've got these Numina sensors that track pedestrians, cyclists, and everything. Sound very cool. There's been, for a number of reasons, delays with getting them deployed, such that today we decided, since the early, we get them for 4 months at a time. The plan is to have them 2 months on the cycle track, 2 months at right now, 72nd and Dodge, looking at pedestrian infrastructure around orbit. But because the best we could hope for now is getting them deployed in November, we are kicking that can down the road to installing them at the orbit stop on 78th or 72nd and Dodge in February, March, and then April, May on the cycle track. So anybody who has ideas about what specific areas of 72nd and Dodge would be good to have data about what pedestrians and cars are doing. We've got 3 sensors. One sensor will cover about half of a crosswalk area. So we kind of have to pick a particular crossing or section. I'm happy to share more info on what those placements look like. You folks know better than I do what the issues with walkability and around the intersection are. So that's the update there. The other questions were, apparently they're running regular buses on the orbit, and what anybody knows about that. And then when I was headed into campus today to get my flu shot on crossing Saddle Creek, the light cycled and never changed for me. So I don't know if they've changed that now so that it only detects cars, if anyone else has had an experience there on coming in 72nd, or sorry, coming in Saddle Creek. That's all I got.
Thank you for the updates on all that, Ryan. I guess what I know about regular buses being run on orbit, the last I asked, because that happened a few weeks ago when we were heading to City Hall. And I was excited to show Scott how we can put our e-bikes inside on the orbit, and a regular old bus shows up. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll just put them on the front. Luckily, there was no other bikes because there were 2 of us, and there's only 2 racks on the front of the regular buses. And as I was getting on, the bus driver first told me that e-bikes were not allowed, which I was like, let me just call Lauren Sensick right now. I could do that. And he's like, no, it's fine. So I followed up with Jason and said, hey, just FYI, some of your drivers don't know that e-bikes are allowed. Also, why is there a janky old regular bus on the orbit line? And he said that it was because some of the bike racks were being fixed on the orbits. So that's all I know. I'm not sure. I know they've been having a lot of issues with the rollout of their UMO, the new payment system. I don't know if anyone's had good or bad luck with that. Yeah, that's what we had a transit team meeting. I guess that was just last night. And I wish it would just be fare free forever, because by the time that they get it figured out, they have probably wasted so much, whatever. Anyway, could be better. I don't know. So when you're talking about Saddle Creek and coming, were you on your bike and it didn't sense you, or what?
Yeah, it was pouring rain. I got down to the intersection and just missed the light and was in the right lane. And they switched it so that the cars coming west have the signal first. And so I saw that happen, and then the rest of the traffic started going and the light never cycled.
I don't know what's
So-
to that. Except for sorry, hope you had a good rain jacket.
But yeah, we had my parents were in town, and we tried to take the Orbit, and so we watched that how to pay video, and the how to pay video still says it's free. So then we got on and tried to just scan the UMO to, like, you would pass back the paper card, and then it's like a big thing that flashes. It goes nope, no pass back. And we asked the driver, he's like, I don't know, man, don't worry about it. And then when we were coming back, it would only let it buy one ticket at a time with
With a credit card.
And so we put the credit card back in, and it seemed to indicate that you couldn't use the credit card to buy another ticket. And we asked the driver about that, and they said, don't worry about it. Yeah, we're having problems. So that was our UMO.
Well, and Cindy just put something in the chat. Sarah, do you know the e-bike weight? I think most e-bikes should fit under the weight if you're able to just like pop the battery out.
Yeah, I think right now it's 50, I want to say maybe 55 pounds. I'd have to double check on that. But yeah, I think it is usually, you do have to have it in the rack, but as long as it's under the 55-pound weight limit. And like you said, Liz, if you're worried it might be on the edge, pop your battery out while you're waiting. That's not a bad idea. But a lot of them are right around that limit. And so you do have to kind of like awkwardly lift them up. If you grab your right brake lever, that's the rear wheel brake. So if you roll it up onto the back and grab that, then it won't be sliding around on you. And then I usually use my knee on the saddle and try to kind of like lift it up. It's a little awkward. It definitely takes some getting used to. It'd be nice if you could just sit with your bike, but unfortunately they do have to be on the rack. Okie dokie. Anybody else have anything else? I smell dinner happening in the background, so we won't keep everyone all night unless there's more updates or anything to share.
Share a couple things real quick.
Great.
Coming and Saddle Creek was it? I usually find no shortage of cars there, so don't have a problem with the light. And then as far as mode shift goes, I think it would be, as long as you're keeping the events on the Facebook mode shift as well, I think that's super useful because I go there to check and see what's upcoming as well as the website.
Great feedback. Thank you. Yeah, I'm always trying to figure out where the engagement's happening the most, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or the website or the newsletter. So all of that can be found through our website. But yeah, you can also, if you haven't signed up to make sure that you're on our email newsletter list, go ahead and you can do that at the website as well. And we will continue to keep you all informed. Really appreciate you all showing up tonight. This was a great discussion and a good turnout. So I think I'm going to at least hit stop on the recording, and then if anybody else has any final words, but otherwise have a good night.